All right, let's talk about using Notability with our students. Notability is an app that allows kids to write on top of a Word document or a PDF that you post to your website. All right, so first of all, let's go ahead and open up Notability to see what it looks like on a student iPad. Now, when using Notability, it would make a lot of sense to make a folder for each class. So let's take a look at Student View that I have set up here. I have a math folder, a science folder, a language arts folder. Within that same area, I'm going to also add a social studies folder. And you'll notice I did that by simply clicking on the plus sign next to Unfiled. This is a subject, so I'll hit subject. And whoops, it went in the wrong area, so I'm going to move it up. There we go. So now I have a folder for each of my 4 main core classes. Before I open an assignment for a particular subject, I'm going to make sure that that folder is opened. If I forget to do that, I can always move my notes later, but that's one little trick to make using Notability a little more organized. Alright, so since I'm going to open up a math assignment in just a minute, I'm going to make sure my math tab is already open. Alright, now let's pretend I'm a student and my math teacher has asked me to go to their website where they've posted an assignment. I'll go into their class, and just for example's sake, I'm going to open up the syllabus and we'll pretend that that was an assignment my teacher had given me. Now in the top right hand corner I have the option to open in Notability. Sometimes it doesn't give you that option directly, in which case you can hit open in and Notability will be one of the options. So I'm going to open in Notability. And it'll take a moment for it to convert, so just give it a second. And once it's done, I'll hit Create New Note, I'll hit OK, and it will open that assignment automatically. Now, there's a few things that I can do while in Notability. I can type text, I can draw on top of the assignment, I can highlight. So if I was reading a text and I wanted to highlight, I can also erase. Let's take a look at what it looks like if I were going to type. So I'll click on the T at the top, I'll put my cursor where I want to be able to type, and I can type. So if I wanted to put my name, there we go. If I click on the drawing key, I have the option to change the thickness, change the color, and now I can draw all over, you know, fill in an assignment or add answers. Here's a nice little trick. Sometimes teachers will say, well, you know, when kids are drawing with their finger, they don't have enough room to show work. In math, for example. A little trick in Notability is if I hold my finger in an area where I want to show my work, it will bring a zoomed in view up down below. So now, if I want to show my work, let's say I'm doing, you know, 3 plus 5 equals 8. Down below, it's zoomed in, and I have plenty of room to work out a problem, you know, to draw or write as much as I need. But up above, it only takes up a small portion. So I could do an entire worksheet very easily that way. All right, I'm going to close zooming up again. So now let's pretend that as a student, I finished my assignment. I opened it off my teacher website, I finished it, and now I'm ready to send it off. I'll show you an example. Highlight there quick. Once I'm ready to turn it in, I'm going to click the arrow in the top left-hand corner. Let's first of all look at an example if your teacher asked you to email this. We're going to hit email. I'm going to keep it as a note because as a teacher I'm going to open it in Notability and I'm going to write comments. So let's email it as a note. So I would enter my teacher's email address. I would rename the subject to make it a little easier for my teacher. So let's pretend I'm in 6th hour. Last name, first name, and the name of the assignment. And we'll send it off. Alright, now I'm going to show you what it looks like to annotate or to write comments as a teacher once a student has emailed me an assignment. So I'm going to close Student View, I'm going to open Teacher View, and I'm going to have my 6th hour folder open. Now let's go to my email. So now I am pretending that I'm the teacher, and I am on my iPad, And there is the assignment that was sent to me. I will click on it. I will open in Notability. And now as a teacher, I can go back and I can write comments to the student. Probably want to change the color, but I could say something like, nice job. This is spelt wrong. Please correct. However you normally annotate as a teacher or give feedback, you can do that the same way using Notability. And now I'm going to send it back to the student. And, say something like, check your feedback, and send it off. So that's one example of workflow using Notability. Let's say, instead of doing email, your teacher requests that you send it through Google Drive instead, because a lot of teachers are using Google Drive. If I choose Google Drive, it's really cool. Google Drive allows me to choose what folder I want that to go into. So if your teacher already had you set up a shared folder, you'll be able to put it directly into that shared folder. So let's pretend 6th hour here. There's my shared folder that I share with my teacher. I can export directly to that folder. I'm going to want to change it to PDF, and now I'm going to send to Google Drive. Now as a teacher, I can stay on my iPad and access my Google Drive account and open that assignment directly into Notability where I can annotate on top of it again. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to show you as a teacher. So that's one option. I could give feedback and annotate through Notability. But what if I want to grade that assignment on my computer? Instead, I can go to my Drive, go to the folder where I had that student share with me, and open the assignment up. So right now I'm on my computer instead of my iPad, and I can see all of the work that that student did, but I can't write on it. It's a PDF. So here's a little trick. If you want to be able to write comments on a PDF in your Drive, you can right-click on it, open with Google Docs, and it converts that document into a Google Doc. So now if I wanted to, I could write some comments along the top. Nice job, Elizabeth. Please correct, and give them some comments there. It converts the text into, it converts any drawing into a picture, so I can't necessarily write on top of it. But it is one way for me to give feedback to a student directly in Google Drive, so I don't have to send that back to them or share that with them. Alright, so that's one example of how to use Notability. I showed you what it looks like from a student perspective. I showed you what it looks like from a teacher perspective, whether you want to give feedback through Notability on your iPad or right through Google Drive on your computer. I hope you find this helpful. Thanks.